Do you think you know everything about the X-Files? About the agents, the government conspiracies, and the flying objects? Well, there are secrets behind the camera that were cut out and you never even knew. Some of the actors paid a heavy price with their health and even with their lives for the roles that defined them. And today, we're going to uncover the final X-File of this cast and honor the legacy they left behind. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's go. David Duchovny as Fox Moulder. When David Duchovny was 33 years old, he stepped into the role of FBI agent Fox Moulder, the man who believed the truth was always out there in the X-Files, 1993. The show quickly became a global phenomenon, and Duchovny's character became an irreplaceable face of this legendary sci-fi series. But behind the glowing lights and extraterrestrial conspiracies was a raw, unsettling truth few knew. David William Duchovny was born on August 7, 1960, in New York City. He earned a bachelor's degree from Princeton and pursued graduate studies at Yale, but life took a different turn when he entered the world of entertainment. Behind the spotlight, Duchovny's personal life was riddled with turbulence. He married actress Téa Leoni in 1997, a golden couple of Hollywood at the time. But in 2008, a shocking revelation stunned the public. Duchovny voluntarily entered a rehabilitation center for sex addiction. This controversial diagnosis didn't just shatter his public image, it also triggered a messy divorce. He was supposed to be the man chasing the truth on screen, yet in real life, he couldn't control a piece of the darkness inside himself. As of now, David Duchovny is still alive at 64 years old. He continues working in the arts, writing books, releasing music albums, and occasionally returning to the screen in profound roles. In the hearts of fans, he will forever be Fox Moulder, the seeker of truth, and the one who almost destroyed it all himself. Gillian Anderson as Dana Scully. In 1993, Gillian Anderson was 25 years old when she portrayed Agent Dana Scully, a tough forensic doctor who used science to confront the supernatural phenomena her partner, Fox Moulder, firmly believed in. With piercing eyes, calm demeanor, and formidable intellect, Gillian didn't just win over audiences worldwide, she carved out a rare position as a leading woman in the crime science fiction genre of that era. Yet behind that stoic face was a life marked by wounds that refused to heal. Born on August 9, 1968 in Chicago, Illinois, Gillian Lee Anderson entered her first marriage with colleague Clyde Klotz, the assistant art director of The X-Files, on New Year's Day 1994. Less than a year later, she gave birth to her first daughter, Piper Maru, and quickly became a young mother on set. But that happiness didn't last long. The marriage ended in 1997. What followed was a series of tumultuous romantic relationships, from Hollywood producers, British businessmen, to the Crown screenwriter Peter Morgan, all made public and all quietly falling apart. She later married Julian Ozanne, but just 16 months later, they separated in silence. Perhaps the most painful truth was her own admission. "I've loved women, I've loved men, but I always lose them before I get the chance to keep them." Today, Gillian Anderson is 57 years old and continues to impress audiences with her emotionally rich performances in The Crown, Sex Education, and most recently The Salt Path. She lives in London with her 3 children, in a home filled with artwork, where she finds peace through daily meditation. William B. Davis as Cigarette Smoking Man. When William B. Davis was 55 years old, he took on the role of the cigarette smoking man in The X-Files, 1993, a shadowy figure who always appeared amidst cigarette smoke and government conspiracies. No one expected that a character originally meant to stand silently in the background would become the embodiment of evil for the entire series, rivaling Darth Vader in coldness and power. Born on January 13, 1938 in Toronto, William Bruce Davis was once a prodigy of Canadian radio and theater before transitioning to the screen. But what made his life truly surprising was the stark contrast between the chain-smoking character on screen and the real man off camera. Davis had quit smoking back in the 1970s, and while filming The X-Files, he specifically requested herbal cigarettes to avoid relapse. After rising to fame as a villain, he didn't retreat into seclusion. Instead, he became actively involved in anti-smoking campaigns, invested in fighting climate change, and donated his entire fossil fuel portfolio to the David Suzuki Foundation. Outside of acting, he was also a water skiing champion and once held a national record in the senior category, a fact that astonished many fans. As of 2025, William B. Davis is 87 years old and still occasionally involved in artistic projects. He lives with his wife, Emmanuelle Herpin, and regularly appears at climate change events and skepticism conferences. His net worth is estimated at around $3 million USD, modest compared to the global fame of the cigarette-smoking man. John Neville as Well-Manicured Man. At 68 years old, John Neville portrayed the well-manicured man, a cunning, high-ranking member of the syndicate, opposed to the cigarette-smoking man in The X-Files, 1993. With aristocratic poise, a refined voice, and a chilling gaze, Neville's character symbolized the sophisticated darkness within the show's world of conspiracy. Born on May 2, 1925 in London, John Reginald Neville was once considered a worthy successor to John Gielgud on the British theatre stage. But behind the spotlight was a life of artistic sacrifice. As a father of 6, Neville didn't hesitate to adopt 2 newborns alongside his biological children. His family life was closely tied to his career, to the point that his daughter, Emma, was born while he was performing Othello, and it was Richard Burton himself who came on stage to deliver the news to the audience. Though he was once the soul of classical theatre in England, he chose to leave that glory behind to build a new theatrical foundation in Canada, where he served as an artistic director and inspired younger generations with his passion. John Neville passed away on November 19, 2011, at the age of 86, after quietly battling Alzheimer's disease for many years. He died in the arms of his family, in his adopted homeland, Canada. His net worth was estimated at around $1 million USD, but the true legacy he left behind lives in the memories of the theater, where his Shakespearean voice once echoed with irreplaceable majesty. Mitch Pelgi as Walter Skinner. Mitch Pelgi was 41 years old when he stepped into the shadowy universe of The X-Files in 1993 as Walter Skinner, the FBI assistant director who was both a superior and an unpredictable pillar for Moulder and Scully. Initially a supporting character, Skinner gradually became a symbol of strength, authority, and complexity, a man trapped between his personal conscience and pressure from the powers that be. Interestingly, Pelgi was cast thanks to his irritated attitude during his final audition, exactly the Skinner energy that writer Chris Carter had been looking for. Born on April 5, 1952, Mitch Pelgi wasn't a household name before The X-Files, but this role would go on to define him for the next 3 decades. Behind the tough exterior lies a love story that sounds like a Hollywood script. Pelgi met Arlene Warren, Gillian Anderson's photo double, on the set during Season 3. When he saw her playing a waitress in one scene, he turned to David Duchovny and asked, "Who's that?" Then blurted out, "I'm going to marry her." And exactly 8 months later, he did. From one look on set, they became husband and wife, and together they have a daughter. Arlene even appeared in the show as Skinner's personal assistant. As of 2025, Mitch Pelgi is 73 years old. He remains active in television, appearing in series like Sons of Anarchy, Stargate Atlantis, and Walker, and is often invited back to reprise his role as Skinner in the reboots of The X-Files. His estimated net worth is around $5 million USD. But for fans, the most unforgettable moment will always be the image of Skinner standing silent in the dark corridors of the FBI, caught between 2 worlds. Robert Patrick as John Dogget. Robert Patrick was 42 years old when he stepped into one of the most challenging roles on television as Agent John Dogget in The X-Files, 2000, the man assigned to replace Fox Moulder in seasons 8 and 9. With a tough, rational, classic law enforcement demeanor, Dogget represented a world that no longer believed in the mystical. But that very transition sparked controversy across the fan community, forcing Patrick to brace himself against the immense pressure of stepping into the enormous shadow left behind by Duchovny. Born on November 5, 1958, Robert Patrick was no stranger to pressure. He had already become an immortal icon in Terminator 2 as the T-1000, but after that success came years of stagnation due to alcoholism, a struggle he only made public in 2022. Patrick admitted that addiction disrupted his career and caused many major roles to slip out of reach. On top of that, age began to take its toll. He had to give up running due to a hip injury and switched to uphill walking on a treadmill to maintain his stamina. Every morning at 6 a.m., he still wakes up to work out, a habit of a man who once played an unstoppable killing machine, now facing the true limits of the human body. As of 2025, Robert Patrick is 67 years old. He continues to act steadily, landing major roles in Peacemaker, The Night Agent, 1923, and numerous other series. His net worth is estimated at around $12 million USD. He lives a quiet life with his wife, actress Barbara Hooper, and their 2 children. No scandals, no drama, just wholehearted dedication to every role he takes. And in the minds of fans, the image of Dogget, a tough, solitary man walking down the dark halls of the FBI, is more than just a replacement. He is a testament to a new generation of X-Files, where belief must be rebuilt through pain and loss. Annabeth Gish as Monica Reyes. When Annabeth Gish was 30 years old, she joined the X-Files universe as Agent Monica Reyes in The X-Files, 2001, a new character who embodied empathy and belief in the supernatural, much like Moulder in the early seasons. Reyes was a close ally of John Dogget, representing a softer, more spiritual approach in a cold and skeptical world. The role not only helped Gish leave a lasting impression on the show's fan base, but also marked a significant chapter in her own life. Born on March 13, 1971, Annabeth Gish began her career at the age of 13 and has sustained it for nearly 40 years. While Hollywood often devours teen stars, Gish lived the opposite, quiet, scandal-free, and remarkably resilient. She met Wade Allen, a stunt double on The X-Files, in 2001, and just 2 years later they were married at the Sea Ranch Lodge in Sonoma County, California. They have 2 sons together and live a simple life away from the spotlight. Gish once shared, "Hollywood isn't designed for sustainability, but I've done everything I can to balance life and creatively regenerate." In an industry where youth is often the currency of survival, she chose authenticity and depth. As of 2025, Annabeth Gish is 54 years old, but her natural beauty still amazes fans. On Instagram, she often appears in unfiltered photos, beaming no makeup, simply captioned, "Life isn't easy, but I'm grateful to be fully present in every moment." Her net worth is estimated at around $3 million USD, earned through roles in The X-Files, Sons of Anarchy, The West Wing, Midnight Mass, and most recently, Ride. She doesn't need scandals to remain relevant. Gish endures through talent, calmness, and inner light, something truly rare in today's entertainment world. Michael Copsa as Rick Culver. Michael Copsa, a mysterious name in The X-Files and a heartbreaking ending for fans. In 1998, when he was 42 years old, the veteran Canadian actor appeared in the legendary series The X-Files as Rick Culver, a supporting yet enigmatic character who helped shape the eerie, suspenseful tone of the show's tensest episodes. Though his appearance was brief, Copsa's presence alongside major names like Gillian and David Duchovny left a strong impression. thanks in part to his deep, haunting voice, which had made him a standout in anime and animation voice work. Born on January 22, 1956, in Canada, Michael Copsa carried Serbian heritage from his father, a Belgrade-born architect. Though his acting career spanned a wide range, from voice acting to stage and television, his personal life was far from smooth. He married actress Lucia Frangioni and had a daughter named Nora. After their divorce, the two remained close friends. But then a silent enemy arrived, a brain tumor. The malignant disease gradually pushed him away from the spotlight, as he fought his battle quietly while the public remained unaware. On October 23, 2022, Michael Copsa passed away due to complications from the brain tumor, at the age of 66. His ex-wife wrote in a heartfelt tribute, "He was a talented actor, a loving father, and a true artist, from the stage to the paintbrush." His net worth was never publicly disclosed, but the legacy he left behind went far beyond material wealth. It was the familiar voice beloved by millions of animation fans, a small yet essential part of the mysterious world of the X-Files, and above all, the image of a father tightly holding his daughter's hand during treatment, still smiling even as the end drew near. R. Lee Ermy as Reverend Patrick Finley. In 1995, at 51 years old, former U.S. Marine Ronald Lee Ermy took on the role of Reverend Patrick Finley in the episode Revelations of the X-Files. Although it was just a guest appearance, with his thunderous voice and commanding presence, the very same that made Gunnery Sergeant Hartman in Full Metal Jacket a cinematic icon, Ermy captured the audience's attention. In a ghostly world, his character emerged as a cold, divine force of fear. Born on March 24, 1944 in Kansas, Ermy's life was a stormy journey from boot camp to the big screen. After being discharged due to injury, he drifted through murky waters, buying an old bar and brothel in Okinawa, Japan, before fleeing to the Philippines under investigation for smuggling. It was there, amidst a life on the run, that he met his future wife, Neela, who would stay by his side for over 4 decades and bear him 4 children. Though he found a home, he struggled to find his place in civilian life, until Hollywood saw something in him no one else could offer: the raw terror of a real officer. On April 15, 2018, Ermy passed away from complications related to pneumonia at the age of 74. His funeral was held with full honors at Arlington National Cemetery, the resting place of American heroes. With a net worth of around $8 million USD and a long list of memorable roles, from Toy Story to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, R. Lee Ermy was not just Gunny on screen, but an indomitable icon in real life. On the show Lock and Load, he once affectionately referred to his wife as Mrs. Gunny, a rare moment of tenderness behind the hardened image he carried all his life. A soldier never truly dies. They simply fade quietly into the shadows. Don S. Davis as Captain William Scully. In 1994, at 52 years old, Don S. Davis entered the X-Files universe as Captain William Scully, the stern but loving father of Agent Dana Scully. Though a small role, it was an emotionally significant piece in the famous series, representing the silent sacrifice of fathers on the home front, a figure that Davis portrayed with quiet sincerity, never overacting. Before touching the hearts of fans, Davis had lived a life full of trials. Born on August 4, 1942, in Missouri, he was a former U.S. Army officer who had served in the Marine Corps before pursuing a career in the arts. His marital life went through turbulence before he found peace with his wife, Ruby Fleming, in 2003. But behind the scenes of his film career, Davis faced more silent enemies: heart disease, diabetes, and the physical toll from years of doing action scenes. In 2002, he underwent a dangerous surgery for an abdominal aortic aneurysm, which forced him to gradually step away from Stargate SG-1, where he played General George Hammond, one of the most beloved roles of his career. On June 29, 2008, he passed away from a sudden heart attack at the age of just 65. He did not live to see his final appearance in Stargate Continuum, which was released 1 month after his death. His body was cremated, and his ashes were scattered in the Pacific Ocean. A poetic farewell for a man who had been a soldier, a painter, a sculptor, and an actor. As a final tribute, producers named the ship USS Hammond in Stargate Universe, forever engraving his name into the sci-fi galaxy. A quiet, resilient symbol, now immortal in the memory of fans. Tom Braidwood as Melvin Frohike. In The X-Files, 1993, at 37 years old, Michael Copsa joined the hit series alongside major names like David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson. Although his role was a supporting one, his piercing gaze and seasoned presence left an unforgettable impression. It was 1993, the golden age of government conspiracies and aliens on television, and Michael Copsa was part of the wave that made it iconic. But before stepping into the enigmatic world of the X-Files, Michael had lived through a journey far from easy. Born on January 22, 1956, in Canada to a Serbian immigrant family, he grew up under the influence of his father, a Belgrade-born architect, who laid the foundation for Michael's later dexterity and creativity. However, his personal life did not run as smoothly as his artistic career. His marriage to actress Lucia Frangioni could not withstand the pressures of time and work, even though they had a daughter together named Nora. In the years following their divorce, Michael quietly endured both physical and emotional pain, away from the spotlight, with few knowing what he was going through. On October 23, 2022, Michael Copsa passed away at the age of 66 after battling a brain tumor. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at around $1 million USD, not much, but reflective of a devoted, unpretentious artist's life. In a tearful tribute, Lucia called him a loving father and a fully present soul. And to the audience, his image, in the shadowy glow of the X-Files, feels as though he still lives on in that world where the truth is hidden, waiting for someone like him to pull back the veil. Dean Hagglin as Richard Ringo Langley. In 1994, when he was 29 years old, Dean made his debut in the X-Files universe as Richard Ringo Langley, the blonde-haired member of the Lone Gunman trio. With his suspicious eyes, high-pitched voice, and lanky frame, Langley became an icon for hackers and for those who firmly believed that the truth is out there. He wasn't just a side character. He was an underground force of resistance in a world overshadowed by government conspiracies and aliens. And from that moment on, Dean Hagglin's name became forever tied to the image of those who don't believe in coincidences. Dean was born on July 29, 1965, in Oakbank, Manitoba, Canada, to a Swedish heritage family. Originally an improvisational comedian, he was active in Vancouver's theater scene and had studied industrial design before turning to acting. But after the breakout success of his role as Langley, Dean quickly fell into the trap of being typecast, locked into oddball, eccentric roles from which he found it hard to escape. He once shared that he struggled to find new roles that didn't involve hackers or UFOs. Though he avoided scandals and addiction, his career was bumpy because his first success had cast such a long shadow. Refusing to give in, Dean Hagglin chose a path of independence, no big screens, no loud blockbusters. He pivoted into technology by inventing the Chill Pack, a cooling device for laptops, and later co-hosted his own podcast, Chill Pack Hollywood Hour, which delved into Hollywood's behind-the-scenes world with filmmaker Phil Learness. In 2015, he relocated to Sydney, Australia, with his girlfriend and 2 dogs, living a quiet life in the peaceful suburb of Newtown. This move nearly caused him to miss out on a cameo appearance in Season 10 of The X-Files. But thanks to an unexpected call from a former castmate, Langley made it back just in time. By 2025, Dean Hagglin is 60 years old, still alive, still creating content, and still fiercely independent, just like Langley once was. His estimated net worth is around $2 million USD, not earned from Hollywood's spotlight but from staying true to himself. And even though he no longer stands in the middle of government conspiracies or unidentified flying objects, Dean remains living proof that some people don't need fame to become legends. And now, after all the tragedies, losses, and glory you've uncovered, who among them do you still remember? Which legacy moved you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us on this journey into the heartbreaking shadows behind Hollywood's bright lights. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.